You may take our lives, but you'll never take our freedom. That iconic line from Braveheart echoes through history. But what if I told you that William Wallace, the man behind the legend, has more to teach us than just battle cries and sword fights? In this video, we're diving deep into the real-life traits of William Wallace and how they apply today in our relationships, our careers, our finances, and our personal growth. Let's take a 13th century warrior and extract timeless wisdom that still works in the 21st century. William Wallace was a Scottish knight and freedom fighter during the late 1200s. Best known for leading a resistance against English rule during the Wars of Scottish Independence, Wallace wasn't born into power. He earned his influence through bold action, strategic brilliance, and an unshakable sense of purpose. He was eventually captured and executed in 1305, but his legacy still lives. He's remembered as a symbol of freedom, defiance, and principled leadership. But Wallace wasn't perfect. He made some massive mistakes too, and that's where the lessons get really interesting. One of Wallace's most powerful traits was his courage to stand alone. He didn't wait for permission or approval. He acted on what he believed in, even when he had no support, no army, and no backing from the nobles. In today's world, that same courage is incredibly valuable. In your career, you might have an idea no one supports at first. In relationships, you might need to walk away from someone who doesn't respect your boundaries. Financially, you might choose a path that isn't popular, like saving when everyone's spending. The key is being willing to take action without needing validation. Take smart, calculated risks. Trust your gut more than you trust the crowd. Don't wait for the right time because it rarely comes. Success often begins the moment you're willing to take action alone. Wallace also had an unshakable sense of purpose. He wasn't rebelling for the thrill or to chase power. He had a clear why: freedom for Scotland. That purpose gave him a kind of emotional and mental fuel that helped him persist when everything was against him. In modern life, if you don't have a strong reason behind what you do, burnout is inevitable. Whether you're building a business, pursuing a career, or growing in love, purpose keeps you going. Know why you're working your job or why you're in a relationship. Make decisions based on values, not just feelings. Let purpose guide how you spend your time and money. When you know your why, the how becomes a lot easier. Another admirable quality Wallace displayed was leadership without a title. He wasn't a king or a noble, but people followed him because he led through action, not ego. In today's world, you don't need a title to lead. Influence is more powerful than authority. Whether it's in your workplace, your family, or your community, leadership comes from solving problems, not pointing fingers. Show people what's possible through how you live. Lead by listening. Take responsibility. You don't need to be in charge to make change. You just need to take charge. One of Wallace's most underrated traits was his ability to think strategically. He was constantly outnumbered by the English army, yet he found ways to win through intelligence, terrain advantages, and unconventional tactics. In our world, it's not just about working harder, it's about working smarter. Strategy beats size. Don't just grind, plan. Budget your money, learn how to invest, and prioritize high leverage activities. Use your strengths instead of trying to do everything. Outthink your obstacles instead of just outworking them. Don't ask, do I have enough? Ask, am I using what I do have wisely? But Wallace wasn't flawless, and his mistakes are just as valuable for us today. One major flaw was his stubbornness. Wallace refused to compromise with England at any point. While admirable in some ways, that rigidity ultimately cost him his life and kept Scotland at war for years. In our world, stubbornness can protect our values or sabotage our growth. There's a fine line between staying true to your beliefs and being inflexible to the point of self-destruction. Be open to feedback. Know when to stand firm and when to adapt. Don't let ego or pride prevent you from growing. Ask yourself, am I standing for something or just refusing to grow? Another issue was emotional reactivity. Wallace was deeply driven by personal loss and revenge, especially after his wife's death. That rage gave him short-term power, but also made him reckless. In modern life, acting out of anger or emotion can lead to lasting damage. Making emotional decisions, whether in business, love, or life, can be catastrophic. Take a breath before reacting. Don't send that text in anger. Don't blow your budget because you had a bad day. Let strategy guide your actions, not your feelings. Emotional control is a superpower in today's world, and it separates long-term winners from short-term reactors. Wallace also lacked diplomacy. He was a warrior, not a politician. As a result, he burned bridges with potential allies, and that cost him support when he needed it most. In the modern world, relationships are everything. Whether in business or your personal life, the ability to communicate, negotiate, and empathize is crucial. Learn to influence instead of always trying to dominate. Don't let pride stop you from mending broken connections. Be someone who wins allies, not just battles. Sometimes the strongest move is to listen, not fight. So how do we take everything we've learned and apply it to our lives today? In your career, be brave enough to go after what you want. Ask for the promotion. Apply for that job even if you don't meet every qualification. Start the business. Be strategic by focusing on work that actually moves you forward, not just makes you busy. Lead by solving problems, not waiting for someone else to fix them. In your finances, have a plan. Budget your income, save consistently, and think long term. Control your emotions. Don't spend impulsively or chase get-rich-quick schemes. Be willing to say no to peer pressure or lifestyle creep. Financial freedom comes from discipline and strategic thinking. In your relationships, lead with purpose. Don't settle for surface-level connections. Be intentional with your time and energy. Learn how to communicate your needs and boundaries clearly. And remember, don't bring emotional reactivity into your relationship battles. Learn to pause, listen, and respond with maturity. In personal growth, define your mission. What do you stand for? What kind of person are you trying to become? Adapt and evolve. Don't cling to outdated beliefs or habits. Every battle, win or lose, is a lesson. Let your pain and your victories shape a better version of yourself. William Wallace lived in a brutal, chaotic time, but the traits that defined him still echo powerfully today. Courage, purpose, leadership, strategy, but also emotional control, diplomacy, and knowing when to adapt. You don't need to carry a sword to live like Wallace. You just need to stand for something, think for yourself, and lead with purpose. So ask yourself, where in your life could you use a bit more bravery? And where could you use more strategy or self-control? Because the real freedom Wallace fought for isn't just national, it's personal. Freedom from fear, freedom from compromise, freedom to live a life on your terms.